Hi, Amy.
Hi, B.
Today we're dissecting 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 2. Please excuse my weird voice. I have a cold. Before we begin our chat, let's do a 1, 2. 1, rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé, honestly. Before we start, can I just make a small correction to something I said last week? You and I were discussing Jenny's age versus Sadhna's age, Sumit's mom. And I said that I think that Jenny is a little bit younger. And I was scratching my head after that conversation thinking, I wonder if there's some way that I can actually figure this out. So I tried my hardest to investigate online. Unfortunately, there's no information as to what Sadhna's age is right now, but we do have some information. We know Jenny's age and Sumit's age. 15 years ago, Jenny was 52 and Sumit was 21. That's when they first met. And I believe that Sumit is the eldest child. So we can make an educated guess as to how old Sadhna was when she got married or when she had him. And if we put that number at around 20-ish, 20 to 25, that would mean that when Jenny met Sumit, he was 21, she was 52, Sadhna was around 45-ish. That would make Sadhna today around 60 to Jenny's 67 years, which means that Jenny is quite a bit older. And these numbers that I'm coming up with, which are invented, admittedly, are quite conservative, I think, because the median age for a woman getting married in India is currently 19. And I'm putting her around 20, 22, 23 for when she had Sumit.
So what you're saying is I was right.
You were right. I was wrong. Sumit's mom is younger than his wife.
I really don't care who was right or wrong. I'm just glad that you're able to sleuth out just the answer. Because we were both like, no, I'm pretty sure she's older. No, I'm pretty sure she's younger. Okay.
Anyway, these things keep me up at night, so I had to investigate. Shall we talk about Jenny and Sumit?
What a disaster.
Oh my God. This is starting off so badly for them. This season is going to be a difficult one to get through.
It already is, and it's only the second episode.
Yeah, and it's only night 1 for them. They've only had one night in their parents' apartment, and Jenny says that she feels like a child. Well, no kidding. She's having to do the chores. She's having to do whatever Sadhna says. She makes dinner the first night. What a feast. Spaghetti with jarred tomato sauce and Parmesan cheese.
Powdered Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, the not real cheese stuff. It's funny, she said she feels like a kid. She made a meal for kids. She eats like a kid.
I was just so unimpressed by her. And I was actually on Sadhna's side when she was like, Jenny needs to grow up. She needs to learn how to cook. She needs to clean. And, even when they were in the kitchen that morning, she was like, oh, no, that's dirty. So I assume that was pointed to Jenny. How is she 67 and she doesn't know how to cook?
I don't understand this at all. I really don't. Maybe her idea of cooking is just warming stuff up.
See?
Maybe she's buying processed food from the grocery store, like frozen pizzas or pre-made hamburgers, and she's cooking them in that she's heating them through to the point of being ready to eat, but she's not actually preparing the ingredients and making it herself. But I thought that in the last few years of living in India that Jenny had been learning how to make curries and all of the great Indian food. Apparently not. What a disaster.
And why hasn't Sumit tried to teach her how to cook?
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be a great chef?
He was working as
a cook at one point, as I recall. Anyway, I don't get it. I don't get why they don't have enough bowls for everybody. Like some of the people had to share bowls of food. And then I thought, well, maybe this is weaponized incompetence on Jenny's part. Maybe she's actually a mastermind and she's trying to get out of cooking. And so she's deliberately doing a bad job so that nobody will ask her to do it again. But in fact, they did ask her to do it again. And she said, no, anything but that. And so now she's relegated to doing cleaning chores whenever she gets home from work. And work is interesting, shall we say?
Oh, God. There's just so much wrong with all of it.
Yeah.
Why are they so impulsive?
Why can't they think things through carefully and actually make wise choices? From the fact that there's no water in the building that they chose to rent, to the fact that what they asked to be built is actually so narrow that it's not even practical to use as a kitchen. Why where are the people who can help them with making these decisions? Why are they being so foolish?
They can't afford to hire anyone else. They've already spent half their life savings on this place. And also, they call it a cafe, and yet they're gonna offer, like, burgers? It's
Mhm.
not a cafe food. How about, like, little sandwiches? How about some tarts? No? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. How are you supposed to, because they're in that, like, lineup of other cafes, how are you gonna stick out? You're gonna make the exact same thing as them?
Mhm.
No. And you're gonna eat their food, and you're gonna try to see how you can make it better. With what knowledge? With what money for ingredients?
It's I'm completely speechless. I don't understand anything about this idea of starting the business and of involving the entire family of Amit leaving his job, his current full-time, supposedly, I think, well-paying job to join the family in this absolute fiasco of an idea of a business. Please, Amit, keep your job. Don't leave. He's the only one who's going to be having any income.
Mhm. Go back.
Yeah. Oh, and there are 5 cafes immediately surrounding where they're planning to open their cafe. Have you ever heard of a term like competition?
Mhm.
And the fact that there are 5 other cafes immediately surrounding your cafe would mean that there is a lot of competition, and that's not great for business.
Seemingly, they've been there for a lot longer than they have.
Mhm.
Perhaps they have experience. Just see the way that they're, cooking things up so
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
And we've seen the way that Jenny walks, and I'm not making fun of her because I feel
Mm.
like I walk like that, well, today. But how is she supposed to be efficient at what she does when her movements are so slow?
That's one of the things that I was noticing a lot in this episode was that it's not just Jenny. It's Sumit as well. And it's to a certain extent the rest of his family. They are all
Mhm.
moving so slowly. They look like they're moving through mud. There's no
Yeah.
urgency to their movements. There's no purposefulness to their movements. It's just all very slow. And if I get defeated along the way, then I guess there's nothing I can do about that because I'm slow. I find it very, very irritating to watch that. Like where's your energy? Where's your gumption? Where's your initiative? Why aren't you going for this?
Where's the excitement? Where's the passion? Where's the inspiration? No, you're going to do exactly what everyone else is doing in the exact same place that everyone else is doing it
Mhm.
with what kind of
With
edge?
no water,
Yeah.
with barely any money, with no equipment, and the water thing is stunning because not only are they having to bring every single bit of water in a container to the cafe every day in order to be able to cook. But they also have to then take all of their dishes and wash them in an outside public space where other people are washing dishes in order to use them throughout the day to serve people on, which is frightening,
Mhm.
impractical, silly, foolish. Should
Oh,
I go on?
Jenny's whole idea was that they were gonna have, like, an American style coffee maker because no one else has one, and
Yes.
everyone's going to love it. Okay, that might be a slight edge, but does anyone even drink coffee other than her in the area? Would anyone else do that? We don't know. But anyway, how big is this coffee maker? How big is the water reservoir? If you think
Mhm.
you're going to be selling so much of this coffee, you're going to be constantly refilling that thing. How is that going to work? Are you going to siphon it from a bucket? And even then, who's going to continue to keep refilling the buckets?
I don't know. I really don't know how this is going to get off the ground.
It
It's
won't.
okay. That's fair.
I,
That's
I
fair.
just I think it's so sad. Like, they have these high hopes with, I mean, I feel like every single person that we have seen today has absolutely high hopes, very little thought process. And then my other question is, I know that they don't have any equipment at this point, but I wonder where the ventilation is. Are they not going to just completely
Yeah.
smoke themselves out of there? Because they're going to need a grill top. They're going to need, a kettle, whatever, food, like a prep station, utensils. But anyway, that grill top gets pretty hot
Mhm.
and it can get very smoky. And it's already hot in India. You
Yeah.
want to make it worse.
I I don't know. I
Like,
mean, it's just it's so poorly planned. There's not enough electricity, there's not enough outlets. Do they have to install gas or propane or something in order to fuel the fires that are gonna cook the food? It's like, I have a million questions, and I know absolutely 0 about running a cafe business, but I think I know more than they do.
yes.
Mm.
Yes, you do. I've worked in plenty kitchens in my life,
Yes.
and the only
Okay.
thing I can think of, how big of a failure this is gonna be.
Okay. Shall we read on?
Not yet. I
Okay.
just wanted to make mention that Sumit is pulling a massive pity party. Oh, I've disappointed them yet again.
Yeah.
I don't know how I keep doing this. Stop making stupid decisions. That's
Yeah.
step number 1.
I like it. It's very
Please.
simple. Very good advice.
Let's
Reading
turn
on
the page. Yes.
to Chloe and Jonathan. It's finally time for us to meet Jonathan in Aruba, the pirate, also known as Johnny, who speaks like a rapper because he's doing like this. Hey, yo, yo. Like, oh,
And, like,
fuck
every
off.
other word out of his mouth was man.
Mm-hmm.
No man, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What did you think of his character when we were first introduced to him and he was swinging around on the ropes and talking to people? And did, did he not ooze loyalty and monogamy and faithfulness, dedication?
Yes. That's
Yes.
exactly what I got from him.
Mhm.
He is loyal to that rope, he's dedicated to that boat,
He's
and he
faithful to all his followers.
yes. Loyal to his friends. God, so weird. I don't wanna skip ahead, so please, go on.
Okay. So at first, he describes meeting Chloe and what he admired or liked about her. And that seems to be focused on one thing, which is her physical appearance. He says he loves her body and her athleticism. And I thought, that's fantastic. That's a solid foundation for building a relationship. I like it. Let's
Huh.
continue. Who cares about sense of humor or if they're caring or sympathetic or fun or loving? Doesn't matter. Body, that's athletic. Okay.
Great.
So they both agreed that long distance would not work. Johnny says he will never leave Aruba, which I guess leaves Chloe with no choice, which is why she is now moving there.
So they both didn't agree. It's like, "You wanna be with me, you come here." And then he goes on this whole tirade about how controlling she is, how much she doesn't trust him with, you know, her watching him on the cameras, and, the second that he's out of sight of the cameras, she's texting him, and okay, so now there's no trust in this relationship. He's already cheated on her at least once, at least. And, yeah, this foundation is solid.
Well, they have both acted very, very badly towards one another. We heard last week about Johnny's indiscretions with having brought another woman to Florida to vacation with while he was apparently in a relationship with Chloe. And now we hear from Johnny about Chloe having had some kind of a texting, sexting thing going on while they were still together because he found her phone and saw these messages.
Again, with the trust. I've never gone through my partner's cell phone before. I've never had cameras in my partner's apartment or house or anything. I know. I know.
That was astonishing. I've never heard that before. She
Yeah.
needs access to the cameras in his house so she can watch him.
Yeah. That's very creepy, I would
That's
say.
a whole other level. I mean, location sharing, I get that. I do that with my family. But having a camera and getting upset if they see you leave the camera shot and then they don't know where you are,
Yeah.
this is a new level of complete and total insecurity.
Yeah, and the fact that he went along with it was really surprising. How is he supposed to be bringing back these women to his house without her knowing? But maybe he's angled them in a way that, he could still bring them over. But, he's not smart enough to do that, so he says. But the fact that
Well,
he even said it.
yeah, the fact that he even said it, I think it was shows some very good intention on his part. And I've actually enjoyed getting to know him better. As much as we were being sarcastic when we first started talking about him, the more he spoke, the more I liked him and the more I was intrigued by the situation because for one thing, we didn't know about Chloe having had this sexting thing going on. She did not mention that when we met her. She was framing Jonathan as the one who was always being naughty. And then we also find out from Johnny, not sure which one I'm supposed to use, that he really wants to have a family. And he says his party days are over. He's the one who seems to be ready for this next step, the mature relationship. And Chloe, he thinks, may not be up to it yet.
I found that very surprising. I did not see that coming. And then my next question would be, is he going to quit his job? Like, is he that serious about getting married and having a family?
I doubt it very much. The way he spoke about his job made it sound as if he really loves it and he doesn't want to leave.
Okay, great. But she already can't trust you.
Yeah.
While you're on the boat, you said it's par for the course to, be flirting, and what some of these women are after, and you have aided in their success stories. And she is one of those success stories. Would this actually have been a thing had she just, left it? No.
Totally no. No. Absolutely no.
And then for her to come back, he says, a week later is just insane.
Desperation.
Yeah. That was the word I was looking for.
Smacks of desperation. Yeah. So I'm intrigued now because it's a whole different light that's being shed on both of them. What we heard from Chloe last week does not reflect who Johnny is as we saw him this week. And what we saw of Chloe last week is not reflected in what we heard from Johnny this week about her. So very interesting. The only other thing I think that's worth mentioning is that when she moves, which is really the only scene that we see her in this episode, she's leaving her dog behind. And I do not condone that behavior whatsoever.
And he's 14.
He's an elderly dog, and she's leaving her elderly dog with her mom, shirking all responsibilities there. Great. Also, literally no one in Chloe's life supports her move to Aruba. No one.
Yike. And then her mom is going to go visit her a week later to check on her. Is that enough time to get established?
Probably not.
Yeah. Why can't her mom wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month?
That'd be a good time frame.
But no. And then I loved her little aside when she just says flat out that she has absolutely no idea what she's doing. Flying by the seat of her pants. Okay, we can tell. Thanks.
Yeah.
So glad that you're that self-aware.
Yes. Well, who knows where this is going to go to next? I have absolutely no clue anymore. Last week, I thought I had an idea of where this was headed. This week, none. Surprise!
It's a great start, I would say.
It is. It is. It is. Let's read on. Going to Manon and Anthony, we open with the argument that Sarah and Manon are still having. Dad ends up calling a halt to the atrocities, the shouting, which is kind of reminiscent of, what's her name, Jasmine?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Manon is basically a crying machine.
You know how I feel about that.
No. I know. I felt as if she's trying to take over the title from Jasmine, since Jasmine is obviously not going to be on 90 Day anymore. I hope she isn't. We need to fill the void, right? So is Manon going to step up to the scream, cry queen platform and take the crown?
I really hope not, but in these last 2 long episodes, or their scenes over the episodes, my Lord, she cries so much. Though I did want to say that I appreciated how he supports his wife. He stood up to his sister. And I thought that when they had that conversation the next day, when she asked him to sit down, I thought she communicated very clearly about her feelings and her fears. And I thought that was great. And I'm glad that she didn't start crying. She sounded like she was wavering, but she was not crying at that point.
Yeah, she held it together for that discussion, but there were many other moments when she did not.
Yeah.
And I worry about her stability because of all of this emotional turmoil that's happening. It really does seem like their marriage is in crisis. When Anthony says this move is to save our marriage, I thought, okay, well, I can see how it's going to resolve the economic issues. You'll be living with her parents. It's free childcare, free healthcare. big advantages.
Mhm.
On the other hand, you have not mentioned any intention of going to marriage counseling, which would probably be beneficial at this point since you guys are really struggling to even communicate, except in that one moment when they were sitting on the bed together. No? No.
Why would anyone go to couples counseling for an extended period of time on this show?
We could
But,
solve everything by changing continents.
yeah, let's add on several massive stressors onto an already unstable relationship with the selling of the house and moving alone. Moving is one of the biggest stressors. Financial, they've lost 30,000 now.
Yeah. 40. Yeah, so they only have $40,000 left.
Mhm.
Eee.
Yeah. What was he planning on doing for work? Do you remember?
Well, he said in the first episode that his job was in security, so I think that means,
Oh,
like, being a guard or whatever, but he might have said, "My job is in securities," which is, like, financial stuff, so I'm not
yeah.
sure which one it is.
Well, I think we had this conversation last week that I also wasn't clear on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, if he was in securities, would he not have been able to pick up, like, a part-time job?
Yeah, the money thing doesn't make any sense because they would not be in this big of a hole, I think, if he had some financial savvy and if that was his job. So perhaps he is some kind of a security guard. We will find out. I'm no doubt.
Anyway, this is not a good start.
No, the argument that they have in the car on the way to the airport is horrific. Her shouting at him
In front of the kid.
in front of the kid about the life that I gave you guys. Oh, that was painful. That was really painful. I mean, they both said pretty terrible stuff to each other, but he was the only one who was apologizing.
Mhm.
And he says, I really do feel like I've been parenting alone, basically. Like, these are true statements. So I don't understand why they. Anyway, it was a
I
mess.
I I think she was just getting so defensive and projecting because she feels so guilty.
Mhm.
Anyway, this is not gonna go well.
No, I'm not. I'm not too optimistic about this couple as it stands right now. Maybe things will change. Would you like to read on?
I'd like to skip this one.
But it's so unexpected. Luke and Madeleine, their wedding is 1 month away, and she is looking for an apartment. And I thought, wasn't that interesting? You're going to be spending more of Luke's money on apartments when you already have at least one. And I was like, oh, so she's going to like traipse around playing the rich fiance, sugar baby role. But no, she's buying this apartment with her own money for herself as a kind of security blanket in case Luke's ideas all go to pot and he ends up financially ruined. At least she has something. Smart?
I mean, it would be if she had more than half a brain cell. She was saying that her salon is actually making money, whereas every other endeavor that he has had has failed.
Yeah.
Though I wonder if she means like, she made $5 last month, if that's what she means by it's making money, or it's making money because she's barely covering the bills, or if it's actually making money. I don't know. She doesn't come across as someone who is very financially aware.
No, I totally agree with you. And when we saw them in season one, first of all, the salon, which is so badly misspelled,
Mhm.
was almost entirely funded by Luke to
Yeah.
start it off. I think he said he invested 30 or 40 grand in it just to get it off the ground. And then when he came to visit her and he was checking the books to see how things were going, she was actually still in the hole. She hadn't even managed to break even during any of the 3 or 4 months that she was open. So it is possible that she's deceiving us and that she doesn't have the money necessary to have her own apartment. But I would like to believe that she's learned a little bit in the last year or so and that perhaps her business is thriving because otherwise why would she be taking on such a foolish idea as and buying an apartment, and how could she even do so if she has to get a loan to do it, a mortgage, and the bank isn't going to agree to lend her money unless there's some financially solid money behind it.
Okay, I'll give you that because she did say it's been a year and a half and the place is still open.
Mhm.
So that says something.
Yes. The Second, a very, very surprising thing that we heard in this episode is that Luke was talking to another woman just a few short months ago. Hmm.
Yes, I was surprised to hear that.
And he blamed his temp-
Indiscretion.
his temporary bad behavior on Madelein. So, what do we make of this little conundrum? He sucks at money. He sucks
Yeah.
at relationship. Why are they still together?
He's not funny.
No.
All he does is poke her buttons. The makeup sex is really probably what it comes down to. Like every time
Okay.
she sees him at the airport, she jumps up and wraps her legs around him and you can always see her butt.
Yes, that's right.
So it's probably just lust.
Okay, I'll buy that. Then we have the bachelor party, which Luke was not allowed to have without Madeleine, but his friends decided to throw one for him anyway. Did you enjoy that scene?
I enjoyed that they called him out. Well, some of them called him out saying, we don't think that she's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm in love. Okay,
I
great.
wanted to know more about this story because we saw Brian and his wife in Colombia last year when they went down to
yes.
meet the couple.
Yeah.
And then he says that Madeleine has since destroyed his marriage because of what he did while he was there, which is to convey to Luke that she had spent the night in a bed with another man, not having sex, but just that had happened.
Topless.
So what did she do and how did she do it? No, I don't mean what did she do with the man in the bed. We know that issue has been resolved. But what did she do between Brian and his wife so that now they are divorced? What? How?
That was my question.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't conceive what actually occurred unless Madeleine was just saying that absolutely did not happen. He's a liar. He's trying to ruin my life to her friend, and her friend had more loyalty to her than to her husband. I don't know. The guy seems fairly level-headed, so I don't know. We didn't get to see too much of the best friend, so it's difficult to really make an assessment.
But let me throw this into the mix then, because we don't know whose idea the bachelor party was, but we know that Brian was there. And we also know that they did hire a stripper, even though they are all very well aware of the fact that Madeleine would absolutely go ape shit if there was a half naked woman in the room with Luke. On top of which, we see them recording the lap dance. I don't know if that was Brian or not, but it doesn't really matter because there is video evidence out there, and you know that video evidence is going to get to Madeleine in 5 seconds flat. So is this Brian who's doing this as a retaliation against Madeleine?
I don't know anything yet.
Tell
I
me.
don't know.
Tell
I
me.
know is that when they broke out that camera, I was like, that is not a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Gino's bachelor party video surfaced and how nuts Jasmine went? I think Madeleine, she's going to go berserk. She might even throw a toothbrush.
Do we have anything else to discuss with Luke and Madeleine? I think I know the answer.
Other than the fact that we're not sure how to say her name, every time I typed out his name, it was Luke.
Yes.
That is all.
Right. Let's move on then, because we have a new couple, Greta, 27 from Oklahoma, and Matthew, 26 from England. And it's very fitting that at this moment, Scott should jump up onto your desk and join us in the video podcast, because this is the central focus of Greta's life, her cat. How awesome is that?
I mean, Scotch's presence at this time is awesome. Yes.
Mhm.
This woman, though. This woman.
Didn't you like her?
I thought she was so adorable. And then she hit some key words.
Ooh, tell me.
Vegan.
Okay, but all right.
I said a couple. She's leaving her cat
Temporarily.
She claims this, but then she also says she's rehoming her cat.
Temporarily.
She didn't say it after the rehoming.
But she does intend to bring the cat with her to England as soon as they have their own place.
She better, because that really had me all up in arms. It was like, you were so cute.
Yep.
Her cat is adorable. I love the photo shoot. I thought that was incredible. Really want to do that with mine. However, some of them wouldn't sit still. Would you? Would you? No. As he stays perfectly still.
And She's a new baby lawyer.
Yeah, she just passed the bar and now she's piecing out to go to the UK where she
Mm.
cannot practice law. All of that work.
But it's not all lost. She has to do her equivalency or whatever the test is over there so that
Mhm.
she can get her, I guess it's a KC now, not a QC. It used to be Queen's Counsel, but I guess it's King's Counsel now. So that she can continue to work in law, specifically animal law. How sweet is that?
Yes, I did love that. However, it's just you've barely been able to wake up from this utter insanity of law school and bar exams. Now you're moving to the UK to completely start a new life and live with your boyfriend and his family. And then to hear her backstory was so sad.
Mhm.
Her not knowing how to actually walk into a room with other people and make small talk. She did just fine with her friends. I think she's really overthinking it. I think it's not going to be as bad as how she imagines it. I love the fact that she is taking this leap for herself and is challenging herself. I don't know. So there are things that I liked about her and things that I didn't, but something else that I did love about her, was her grandma group.
Yeah.
It reminded me so
Adorable.
much of Martini Pat
Yes.
and her Stitch and Bitch.
Mhm.
Like that just sounds so lovely. A great way to come together.
Mhm. I love that as well. I love the fact that she and Matthew are both very quirky
Mm-hmm.
and somewhat nerdy. That's always a very attractive quality I find in a person. I loved it how she described that their discussions of economics is kind of like foreplay to them. They just get
Mm-hmm.
so excited and interested in those conversations. Just a couple of nerds talking about economics. Like, oh, this is great.
Couple of nerds just nerding out like nerds do when
Hmm.
one nerd finds another.
They have been engaged after being together for a year and a half, which seems like a decent amount of time. It's
Reasonable.
not, yeah, it's not too fast. They're going to live with his parents until they find their own house, which is fine. But of course, this does cause a problem for her cat because they can't have her cat in an environment with other pets because the cat gets too anxious about that, which is really unfortunate.
But
I
safe.
believe I believe she's going to bring her cat later on.
I'm just surprised that they didn't find a place before she moved there to
Yeah.
avoid having to leave the cat. And
Yeah.
what's her timeline?
Her timeline for
Getting a place?
oh, well, it's going to all depend on him, right?
Well, I would assume so because she's not going to be able to afford to work. Afford to
Yeah.
work. She's not going to be able to work.
She's not going to be qualified to work. And she says she's going to volunteer at an animal advocacy organization, which I thought was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Until she saves enough money, not sure how she's going to do that, but until she saves enough money to take the English equivalent of the bar exam. So I think this is an adorable couple. I'm totally on their side. I want them to succeed. And I definitely want to see the cat come to England to join them.
I think it's going to be interesting between the two of them, especially because they are so quirky. And then just mentioning them being vegan. I know I said it with distaste, but I had the most delicious vegan burger over Christmas, and it was so good. I'm still thinking about it. I texted you about it.
You did. I remember.
It was
I mean, we do get our share of the meat eaters on the show. We just had an episode 2 days ago with lots and lots of cheese, so that should have made you quite happy. And now we're just getting a little bit less cheese. It's okay.
It is okay because there's still vegan cheese.
Vegan cheese is not great.
The vegan cheese on this burger was melted.
That's astonishing.
I know. So
Mhm.
again, I'm not poo-pooing on vegans. It was just
Oh, I know you're
sometimes
not.
there's like a personality type that goes with it. So I wasn't sure where that was gonna go.
Well, if you want to go down that road, there's a personality type that goes along with the carnivore people that I find disgusting. So,
That I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being vegan or eating meat.
yes, but you said that there's a personality type that goes along with some of them. And I'm like, oh God,
I
here we
think
go.
it was the extremists. I didn't know how extreme she was gonna be, but
Mhm.
that being one of the first things out of her mouth, I was like, "Oh god, here we go." But then we find out that he's also vegan, and I'm like, "Oh, something else for you guys to to bond over. And then we heard everything else about them. Just, I can't stop saying the word nerd. I love it so much. And I can only imagine how fun their first date was when they started having that discussion about economics, because my first date with my ex, like, I could have talked to him all night about D&D. It was just so much fun. And we were both just like practically yelling at each other about how phenomenal it was. But it was just a common hobby / obsession.
Yeah.
So the excitement that we both had that, oh my God, you know what this is? Okay. What's your character? Okay. And what do you look like? And what's your favorite spell? And like, it was, I can see it being just as cute as that was. So I do look forward to seeing how these two are together. And I really hope that she can overcome her fears of being accepted into a family.
Yeah. We haven't seen very much of Matthew at all yet, and I'm really interested to see what kind of a person he is with what's her name?
Greta?
Greta, thank you. What kind of a person he is with Greta, because we know that she is leaving her entire security and support system behind her in the US, in all of her friends, the grandma group, and so on. And she does have these anxiety issues, obviously. So is he going to be able to just keep her safe? That's what I want to know.
Be her emotional support.
Yeah.
Though, they are leaving, or she is leaving her friends. However, they can still do their grandma nights online. Like, I still have video calls with my friend who moved to the UK, and we do pretty much the exact same thing that we did when he was still here, except for going out for dinner.
Yeah, fair. Any last comments before we go tonight?
All is not lost.
That'll do it then.
Okay.
Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. If you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.